Hey guys, today I have for you the Fire TV Stick 4K Max. It just came out today and I got it, so I want to do a quick unboxing and to compare it to the older one, the Fire TV Stick 4K. And just looking at the boxes, they're the same color, the Amazon orange, but they're quite different. The older one is a thicker box, but smaller, rectangle. The newer one is a flatter box, but it's larger and it's a square. The other thing that I noticed when I first picked it up was that it makes a nice, wonderful rattling sound. I'm not too crazy about it. It's probably not a big deal, but if you look at the older one, it's pretty compact, nicely packed. So let's open it, see what's inside and what's making that wonderful rattling sound. I did take off the plastic wrapping thingy, so this is how it's packed. So basically what they did, they have one open compartment where they jammed everything, as opposed to if you, and I know I'm going on and on about this rattling sound, but I don't know, it's important to me. So if you look at the older one, everything gets its own little compartment. Every piece gets its own compartment, but not so much here. You have your Fire TV stick, your remote, and your USB cable all kind of in an open compartment. Then you have a secure compartment for the HDMI cable. And even the user manual gets its own compartment. Other than that, we have the wall adapter and the batteries. So that's what's inside the box. So what I want to do now, so as to not mix the two Fire TV sticks, I'm going to compare the older and the newer remote and the Fire TV stick. So let's look at the remotes first. They're exactly the same size and shape. The only difference is the newer one has some extra buttons on it. They have the blue Alexa button. They also have some quick access buttons. These are getting pretty popular now. And I believe these companies, Prime Video, well, that's Amazon, but Netflix, Hulu, Disney, they pay extra to Amazon to put these buttons on their remotes. It would be nice to have a YouTube TV button because I love that app, but it doesn't have that. But other than that, they are exactly the same. So looking at or comparing the older Fire TV stick to the newer one, so that's the newer one, that's the older one. I think they look, yep, they're exactly the same. But the only difference I see is that the newer one says Fire TV on there with the little Amazon swoosh, and the older one just had the Amazon swoosh. But size and shape wise, and I think even weight wise, I mean there might be some microgram difference, but really no, not that I can feel it. So there you have it. That's the unboxing, and now I'll plug it in and see how it feels. Alright guys, so this is the homepage of the Firestick 4K Max. Looks exactly like the homepage for the Fire TV Stick 4K. I did notice some of the differences in settings. I'll get into that in a few seconds, but I do want to point out that hardware wise, what they did, the differences between Fire TV Stick 4K and 4K Max. The biggest difference was the addition of Wi-Fi 6. This Fire TV Stick 4K Max is compatible with Wi-Fi 6. The only thing is you need a router that also is compatible with Wi-Fi 6. For example, I have Google Nest. It does not have Wi-Fi 6, it's still running Wi-Fi 5. So I can use that. I mean, I can use the Wi-Fi 6 capability of the 4K Max. So some of the newer ones do have Wi-Fi 6. I mean, I think Hero makes one, Orbi, Netgear. They're kind of expensive too. So keep that in mind if that's your reason to upgrade from 4K, Firestick 4K to 4K Max. Keep that in mind. The other things that they did to increase the speed, one was it has a bigger RAM, which is the real-time memory. So I think the older one had 1.5 gigabits. This has 2 gigabits, so about less than 50% more RAM, which would increase the speed theoretically. The other thing they did is they're using a faster processor. So basically what they're trying to do with this, there are no huge changes, except they want to give you a faster browsing experience. Now going into the settings, I did notice a few differences. Differences from the Fire TV Stick 4K. So when you go to displays, everything else was exactly the same, but then they have this audio and video diagnostics. That's actually pretty cool. And what that does is that, for example, my Fire Stick right now, the Fire Stick 4K Max, is plugged into the VAVA 4K projector. By clicking on this, it actually gives you everything that the VAVA is capable of. So you can see that it does not have Dolby Atmos. It has Dolby Digital Plus, Dolby Digital, PCM audio. It does not have Dolby Vision. It does have HDR10 4K at 60 Hertz. So that was actually pretty cool. I thought that was a good diagnostics test. Let's see, there was no difference in applications. Everything was exactly the same. I did find it interesting that in the older Fire Stick, you can actually set your location here. You can just put in your zip code and it will just detect it. Here, for some reason you can't do it. And I think you have to do it in the Alexa app. It's not a big deal. I'm probably not even going to do it. The only other difference that I saw was, now let's just go into about. So as you see, it's the Fire TV Stick 4K Max. It is running a newer version. So this is Fire operating system 7.2.5.5. The Fire Stick 4K runs, I think, 6.8 something. So a lot of these differences that I'm talking about, chances are that by the time they're ready to update the Fire TV Stick 4K, you will see a lot of these differences because these are all software differences. So there was nothing else in here. So the only other thing that I noticed is that if you guys remember in the older Fire TV Stick 4K, you can just set this to on to install unknown apps. You just had to do it once, and then all the third-party apps like Kodi and Cinema HD and all that, you can just install them. But when I tried to turn this on, and it gives me this notification that no applications have been installed. So I have a feeling that, well, either you have to do it on a case-by-case basis, where every time you install a third-party app, you have to allow it, or you just have to allow it once, and then you don't need to worry about it. But either way, you can set it in here. Everything else was the same. Didn't see any differences here. So that was it. I mean, my main reason for doing this video was that I'm sure that people are thinking about upgrading from their current Firestick 4K to 4K Max. So I just want to put it out there so you guys know that is it worth it? Is it worth it to upgrade? For some people it might be. If you have a Wi-Fi 6 compatible router, yeah, it will actually increase the speed by probably a lot. But if you don't, then the extra $20, I don't know if it's worth it. But if you don't have a Fire TV Stick 4K to begin with, but you have a 4K TV or 4K projector, and you do want to buy a 4K streaming device, then yeah, by all means. I think this is a wonderful streaming device. So yeah, that's my video. Hope you guys find it useful.